Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Hope that everybody is doing well tonight. What a crazy, crazy day it's been. Tonight's lead story, for all of you that believe in the Second Amendment and own weapons, you want to pay close attention to this. The Supreme Court rejected a bid by New York gun retailers yesterday to block a slew of gun control laws in the state, which they argue violate their Second Amendment rights and hurt their businesses. There were no noted dissents in the order or explanations from the justices for their decision. We're disappointed that not one of the 9 justices saw fit to grant the plaintiffs some stay of enforcement of the new laws against them. Palmer Cameron, the lead attorney for the New York gun retailers, told Fox News Digital, "We're challenging the ability of the state of New York to target dealers in firearms and the lawful stream of commerce, to put them out of business, which is what the new law will do," he added. So it really was unfortunate to see that we couldn't get any emergency temporary injunction against those laws. New York Attorney General Letitia James praised the Supreme Court's decision on Wednesday, saying that the gun safety laws help save lives and keep our state safer. Well, let me just stop right there and explain something to you, Miss Letitia James. You are a complete and utter idiot if you think that lawful citizens that apply for and get a background check for and do training for concealed carry to protect themselves and their family is endangering the community. You're smoking meth, and some really fucked up meth at that, because the only people that are being affected by this are the law-abiding citizens that you're now hurting, because guess what? Those that don't abide the law don't give a damn of what you did here. In fact, they're laughing their ass off that the protections are gone and they can continue to do their criminal behavior. Wednesday's order comes 1 week after the High Court rejected a separate bid by gun right advocates to block the Concealed Carry Improvement Act, which was implemented last year by New York Democrat-controlled legislation. Unfreaking real. New York lawmakers passed that bill after the Supreme Court struck down the state's prior concealed carry law in June of 2022. In New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Brunnan, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in that opinion for the court that the Second and 14th Amendment protect an individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. The new law prohibits carrying a gun in sensitive areas such as stadiums, houses of worship, museums, parks, and other public places, which, by the way, is where criminals will carry them because law-abiding citizens aren't allowed to. Improves revised record-keeping and new safety requirements on retailers and mandates background checks on all, get this, ammunition purchases. The attorney for the gun retailers argued that new record-keeping laws could amount to an unconstitutional gun registry. No shit. The list of new mandatory compliances even goes so far as a turnover of acquisitions and disposition records. which the state of New York attorneys have admitted will be used to create the first ever gun owners registry housed at the New York State Police. Multiple challenges to the new law are continuing to play out in lower courts. So, the Supreme Court has always been on our side when it comes to the Constitution, especially when challenges are up against our Second Amendment rights. And furthermore, after Donald Trump's presidency, when the majority of our justices are conservative, we thought for sure that the status quo would be that they will protect our Second Amendment rights. Guess what? We thought wrong. I don't understand why. They didn't say why. Not a single one of them wrote why they came to that decision. So, look, if I was a conservative or a Republican and I lived in the state of New York, first off, I don't know why you'd want to live there. But if you do, get the fuck out of there. Just leave, like they're doing out in California, for instance, and let the criminals take over the freaking state, the city. Let them run raw, because that's what it will take to wake these liberal Democrats up that the only person you're hurting are law-abiding citizens. You're not making the streets safer. You're not protecting lives, except for the lives of criminals, because a good guy with a gun will step up and stop a bad guy with a gun. And that is just a fact. Over 2 years after the New York Post first shed light on the Biden family's shady business dealings, CNN has finally ran its own report about the questionable ethics surrounding President Joe Biden. Welcome to the game, CNN. As Biden is engulfed in a scandal with the ongoing special counsel investigation into his mishandling of classified documents, CNN ran this headline: a famous last name, business deals, and a looming probe. Republicans ramp up investigations of the Biden family. The report published Tuesday laid out potential conflicts of interest regarding the president's son, Hunter Biden, and his brothers James and Frank Biden, who leveraged their close associations with their powerful Democrat father both during and after the Obama presidency. In 2021, Frank Biden assured a group of medical professionals he would do all that he can to get federal dollars for them while the powerful and influence of his brother's bully pulpit, though he denied he ever took part in any quid pro quo. CNN pointed to multiple lawsuits leveled at James Biden, who was accused of fraud after he boasted his relations to the famous politician. During an on-air report that aired several times between Tuesday and Wednesday, these last 2 days, CNN addressed Biden's assertion that he never spoke with Hunter about his business dealings, pointed to at least one meeting the then vice president had with Hunter and his business associates, which once again is proving that Joe Biden lied. Mexican airline leader Manuel Albin Magani, CNN News reporting on old revelations, was prominent by critics on social media. National Review social media editor Claude Thompson wondered, weird how this went unreported in 2020 when Biden was lying about it then, though the facts were already known by the American people due to Hunter Biden's laptop. Real Clear Investigator senior reporter Mark Hemingway tweeted, "What's next? We'll learn Hunter was getting million-dollar wire transfers from Russia?" The story is how many years old now? Why even share, CNN? Washington Free Beacon reporter Joe Gabriel Simpson knocked the liberal network. Welcome to 2020. Substack writer Jim Treacher quipped, critics have had several similar attitudes towards media outlets that finally verify the authenticity of Hunter's laptop after the New York Post ran its bombshell reporting during the 2020 presidential campaign. And sadly, the only people that ran with the story were Fox News, and everybody else squashed it. And even the FBI got involved. We know this. It's factual information to shut down that story and to tell social media outlets and news outlets that it was Russian disinformation. Among news organizations to confirm the laptop after peddling the discredited Russia disinformation narrative were Politico, the New York Times, the Washington Post, NBC News, CNN, and CBS News. CNN was caught spiking coverage of Hunter Biden's laptop during the 2020 election, according to leaked audio tapes obtained by Project Veritas back in December of 2020. Obviously, we're not going with the New York Post story right now on Hunter Biden. CNN political director David Chatlin said during a conference call on October 14th, the same day the New York Post published its first story on Hunter Biden's emails. He later insisted the report was giving its marching orders to the right-wing echo chamber about what to talk about today. No, you're just fucking reporters. You're a news outlet. You're supposed to report on the news. Don't pay attention to what Fox News is saying. That's not what anybody wants you to do. We just want you to look at the facts. And if another agency is credible, as Fox News is, considering compared to you guys, then guess what? Do your own damn homework. Look at what they're looking at. Go investigate it. That's all the American people want. We don't want a biased news media. He went on to say the Trump media is what he called it, moves immediately from, okay, well, never mind. The Michael Flynn unmasking was, found to be complete non-cynical to the latest alleged scandal and expects everybody to just follow suit. Then CNN President Jeff Zucker told his staff on October 16th, so I don't think that we should be repeating unsustained smears just because the right-wing media suggested we should, talking about Fox News. CNN had several on-air personalities that dismissed the brewing controversy at the time. There's a lot about this story that does not add up. CNN's Brian Stetler told his viewers in October of 2020, and I mean, for all we know, these emails are made up, or maybe some are real and some are fake. We don't know, but we do know that this is classic example of right-wing media machine. So instead of doing your homework, instead of following up on this bombshell story that the whole world needed to know, especially American voters, you chose to say, oh, it's probably fake, instead of doing what a journalist is supposed to do, which is go out and investigate it. And if you investigate it and find that Fox News is lying out their ass, but call them out on it, for crying out loud, like they do you all the time. After complaining about the coverage of the emerged scandal that was virtually ignored by the liberal media, Slider went on to call the Post reporting of the Hunter Biden's laptop a manufactured scandal, a so-called scandal, and suggested the newspaper is not a fully reliable source. Just days before his August firing from a CNN, Stetler acknowledged the Hunter Biden scandal is not just a right-wing media story and construed a real problem for the Bidens, although it was too fucking late. Hunter Biden is facing multiple federal investigations for tax crimes and gun registration violations. Meanwhile, his father is now being investigated for his possession of classified documents from his time as vice president of the United States under Barack Obama. There's a growing speculation whether Hunter Biden had ever been exposed to the sensitive records during his various visits and stays at his father's Wilmington home. And at that time, let's all remember, he was making deals with China while smoking crack. And, well, those top secret documents were laying all over the fucking place, to include the damn garage. I go out on a limb here and say that China knows all about them, whatever the hell they are. We know that the people that aren't authorized to view them, Biden's attorneys, are the ones viewing them. They don't have top secret clearances, and the FBI and the Department of Justice doesn't give a fuck about it. This is absolute insanity. It's insane. But God forbid what Donald Trump did or didn't do required an army of DOJ and FBI agents to go in there and raid his home. The Los Angeles Police Department has banned the thin blue line flag from police department buildings this week after concerns over extremism. I'll repeat that. The Los Angeles Police Department has banned the thin blue line flag from police department buildings this week after concerns over extremism. LAPD Chief Michael Moore confirmed the decision in a statement that he sent to Fox News. Yesterday, we received a community complaint of the presence of a blue line flag with the view that it symbolizes support for violent extremist views, such as those represented by the Proud Boys and others, the police chief wrote. I directed to have the item taken down from public lobbies in all police departments in LA. The U.S. flag should be proudly displayed in our lobbies whenever possible. Memorials for our fallen are also authorized in all public spaces. The statement clarified that the thin blue line flag could be displayed in personal workspaces, such as a locker or a personal vehicle. The thin blue line flag was considered extremist due to complaints that it was connected with the Proud Boys and similar groups. The Los Angeles Police Protected League, represented over 9,900 officers, explained that the blue line represents the men and women of law enforcement who stand in the gap between the lawless and the innocent. That's what the flag stands for. In an article in the flag's meaning posted to the National Police Officers Association, Chief Joel Schultz also defended the importance of the symbol to law enforcement. The beauty of the thin blue line and the flag in which it is embedded should stand as a unifying force among people of good faith and peaceful intentions, he wrote. It must not be relegated to ever increasing waste bin or political correctness where the slightest offense to any tender soul defines hate speech. The board of directors for the Los Angeles Police Protected League also released a statement criticizing Moore's decision. It is difficult to express the level of utter disgust and disappointment with Chief Moore's political pandering directive to remove the thin blue line flags and memorials for fallen officers from all public areas within our police stations, the statement read. This direction came as a result of complaints from anti-police criminal apologists and activists who hold too much sway over our city leaders and, unfortunately, our police chief of the LAPD. The board of directors added, Moore, who was appointed by the city's former Democrat mayor, Eric Garcetti, has been criticized over changes appointments claim are politically motivated. Last year, Moore was also criticized for cutting the budget of the robbery homicide division. The division was dropped from having 100 detectives to just 10. 10 detectives for the entire LA Police Department. Moore was also blasted by some officers for taking a knee with Black Lives Matter activists, according to a detective speaking with the Washington Examiner. So, Chief Moore, these same liberal anti-enforcement freaks claim that your officers' guns symbolize support for violent extremist views. Is that next? Are you going to take away LAPD's guns? Following your ideology on the flag, it appears that that's something you're probably thinking about. You, sir, are a disgrace to the uniform you wear and need to go the fuck away. You shouldn't even be working as a dog catcher, much less in charge of the LAPD. Now, this next story, when I'm done with it, I want you all to go to Twitter like I did right before I came on the air, if you're on Twitter, and verify it. Because I did, and it's still there. Why these people are not in handcuffs right now, in jail, for a rise up to kill police officers in Atlanta, Georgia, is beyond me. Where's the Department of Justice? Where's the FBI? Where's the Atlanta police not going knock their fucking door down and take them into custody? Protesters in Atlanta, Georgia are calling for violence against police officers and law enforcement entities following a police-involved shooting yesterday that left a state trooper wounded and one man dead. The Twitter account is called Scenes from the Atlanta Forest, Atlanta as in Atlanta, Georgia, are calling for a night of rage to take place tomorrow night to incite reciprocal violence to be done to the police and any of their allies, according to their Twitter post. Consider this as a call for violence to be done to the police and their allies. On Friday, January 20th, wherever you are invited to participate in a night of rage in order to honor the memory of our fallen comrade, the group wrote on Twitter, in what is an apparent violation of Twitter's platform terms and conditions. The account claims to be part of the Defend the Atlanta Forest, one of the multiple groups protesting in an area where the city is set to construct a new Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. So basically, we have a bunch of liberal snowflake tree huggers that do not want any more trees in the city of Atlanta taken down. We're not talking about out in Colorado in the forest, wherever. No, we're talking about Atlanta, Georgia, that shithole. The Defenders of the Forest said in a statement to Fox News Digital that it is a broad, diverse, decentralized movement to defend the Atlanta forest. They went on to say they are only a news aggregator for the movement and not affiliated with Scenes from the Atlanta Forest. In another Scene from the Atlanta Forest tweet posted several hours later, the group added, "The police will kill you if given the chance. Now is time for bravery. Take care of each other and be dangerous together." The group appeared to acknowledge the post was against Twitter rules, not to incite violence, as it said in yet another tweet that its account is not long for this world. The upcoming event comes after a Georgia State Patrol trooper wearing a bulletproof vest was shot in the abdomen yesterday morning. So a bad guy, one of these liberal tree huggers that were protesting, shot a police officer. It happened as police tried to clear an encampment near the site where the $90 million Atlanta Police Department facility will be constructed. The sweep was conducted as an operation to identify people who are trespassing and committing other crimes on the property. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, GBI, said at about 9 a.m. today, as law enforcement was moving through the property, officers located a man inside a tent in these woods. Officers gave verbal commands to the man who did not comply and shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper. The GBI said in a statement. Other law enforcement officers returned fire, hitting the man. Law enforcement evacuated the trooper to a safe area, and the man died at the scene. The Bureau continued. The injured Georgia State trooper was taken to a local hospital where he underwent surgery. A handgun and shell casings were located at the scene. The GBI is working the officer-involved shooting, and the investigation is still active and ongoing. The identities of the officer and the deceased have not been released. The officer was hospitalized and is in stable condition. Thank God. During a press conference, GBI Director Michael Rester confirmed that the shooting was in self-defense after the now deceased individual opened fire without warning on the police officer. 4 others were arrested at the scene and taken to the DeKalb County Jail. Charges are pending. They're endangering the community and the citizens around this area, Register said of the encampment and the protesters. Fox 5 Atlanta reported. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp also commented on the shooting and said that he and his family were praying for the law enforcement officers. Marty and the girls and I are praying for this brave trooper and public safety officers across all law enforcement agencies today. And he tweeted that out yesterday. As our thoughts remain with him and his family, our resolve also remains steadfast and strong to see criminals brought to justice. The Joint Task Force formed to combat ongoing criminal activity at the APD site includes the GBI, Atlanta Police Department, Georgia Attorney General's Office, DeKalb County District Attorney's Office, Georgia State Police, FBI, DeKalb County Police Department, Department of Natural Resources, and Georgia Emergency Management Agency. Defend the Atlanta Forest held a vigil Wednesday evening at the Little 5 Point Square to memorialize the forest defender that was murdered by police. He shot at a police officer who told him he's in violation and trespassing on private property and needs to leave. And he shot the cop. And now these liberal snowflake fuckheads think it's okay to call for a night of rage tomorrow night and go out and start killing police officers. Today, the police shot and killed a forest offender below the canopy of our beloved forest, the group said. No one can bring our friends back to us. An innocent life has been taken, and the machines continue. We will not go quietly in the dark, it added. Police killed a forest offender today, someone who loved the forest, someone who fought to protect the earth and its inhabitants, the group continued in its tweet. This is why we organized to Stop Cop City, and we will, in honor of their life and the lives of everyone killed and imprisoned by police. The group also announced another event that will be held on Saturday, where members are encouraged to wear black in mourning for the dead member. These events come amid heightened tensions between protesters and the police, involving several arrests over several months over the APD construction site. The Atlanta Police Department seeks to turn 300 acres of forest into a tactical training compound featuring a mock city. And of course, that's what the liberals calling for, right? They want cops to be better trained. That's what they say, right? Cops need to be retrained. They need to be better trained on how to use force, how to do their job. Hell, the Atlanta Police Department is doing that. They're building something to train their officers better, and oh, now you're killing them or attempting to and calling for violence. This project was announced to the shock of the community members who've been given no opportunity to weigh in on the proposal. The entire process has been shadier than the forest itself. Defend the Atlanta Forest website reads. According to the group, they are protesting the new cop city as it will hyper-militarize law enforcement, militarize, and will serve as a national model of police militarization and budgetary bloat. So you want them to be better trained or not better trained? Make up your mind. The group names the 2020 death of George Floyd and others as its motivation to protest police violence. The group also claims it does not advocate for violence and that no one has been harmed by participants in this movement. Well, you're talking out one side of your ass with one thing and the other, another. In the same freaking website, in the same Twitter accounts, 1 minute you're calling, let's get together and go and rage and kill police officers. And the next minute saying, don't do it. Make up your mind. What do you want to do? I'd like to know. Hell, I'd like to go up to Atlanta and join in to stop these tree-hugging bastards. Now, I'm all for protecting the forest. I'm all for protecting our wild animals. I think we are building too much shit. I get that. But you don't have the right to take someone's life or attempt to take their life when you're already committing a crime, for crying out loud, for being there in the first place. Last week, anarchists in Atlanta also targeted Breaksville and Gorey, the general contractor of the police facility, and spray painted graffiti on its buildings. B&G, Stop Cop City, the graffiti read, according to the photos that were published. We have the numbers, another spray painted message read. Also, last month, police arrested 5 people at the site's location. They were also charged with domestic terrorism. On December 14th, the GBI wrote, yesterday, December 13, 2022, our agents assisted APD and another local, state, and task force members in an operation to remove barricades blocking some of the entrances to the training center. Prior to yesterday's operation, APD and other agencies had made several arrests over the past few months of the ongoing criminal activity at the site location. Some of the criminal activity included carjackings, various crimes against persons, destruction of property, arson, and attacks against police officers. Law enforcement continues to address the criminal acts committed by the individuals that continue to occupy the area of the proposed training site. It said the arrested individuals included Francis Carroll, 22, of, and guess where? Maine. Go figure that snowflake. Nicholas Olson, 25, of Nebraska. Serena Hertel, 25, of California. Leonardo Velassi, 20, of Macon, Georgia. And Aaron Robertson, 22, of Wisconsin. After police cleared the area of concern, which included makeshift tree houses, they found explosive devices, gasoline, and road flares. GBI said in a statement on December 14th, the Cobb County District Attorney Sherry Balson said those who were arrested had attacked firefighters and police officers with rocks and weapons as the officers removed barricades blocking of entrances to the site, according to Fox 5 Atlanta. The investigation to the activities at the APD site is active and ongoing. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact local law enforcement or the GBI at 1-800-597-TIPS, TIPS. What are we doing? We have bent so far left, giving all liberals their ability to be protected under the Constitution, that they're now attacking us under the guise of the Constitution. Now, I don't care who you are. If you're a Republican, a Democrat, liberal, conservative, you should be upset over this next story. But of course, the Democrats and the liberals will not be. Mexican cartels controlling the southern border endanger Americans as they struggle to fight against smuggling of drugs, violent criminals, and bringing them into the U.S., a border town official said to Fox News. This is not a political discussion, Yuma County Supervisor Jonathan Lyons told Fox News. This is a national security issue. Unless this situation changes and we take back control from the cartels for the trafficking coming across our border, it will only get worse, Lyons said. The cartels have established effectively and lucratively smuggling operations and use illegal immigrant surge to bypass overwhelmed Border Patrol officials. Illegal aliens can pay the cartel to help them cross the border. But if they can't afford the cost, then they can traffic drugs or work off their debt in lieu of cash. There's a lot of people that don't like the United States for whatever reason. And there's plenty of people that want to get in here and do some damage. A Yuma resident and farmer Alex Muller told Fox News, it's just like a ticking time bomb down here. Nearly 100 known or suspected terrorists were arrested at the southern border just last year. That's according to Customs and Border Protection. By comparison, over the previous 5 years, there was only a combined total of 26 known terrorist arrests. Meanwhile, human smuggling operations profits have skyrocketed in recent years. According to Homeland Security investigations, the industry raked in $13 billion as of July, up from $500 million in 2018. And CBP seized 15,000 pounds of fentanyl along the southern border in 2022, which is a 206% increase since 2020. You have all these cartels that basically run this border on both sides, funneling people and drugs across. A Yuma resident and fifth-generation farmer, Hank Arzon, told Fox News, that's a big money and a lot of people. Migrants encounters increased from 480,000 in 2020 to 2.3 million last year. And what's our Homeland Security Meraki say? Oh, the border's secure. Oh, crime's down. Which is why that son of a bitch is fixing to be grilled by Congress. In Yuma, there was a 171% increase in illegal crossings between 2021 and 2022. The whole world is crossing the border, and these are people who want to get caught, Mueller told Fox News. There's a lot of people who don't want to get caught. Where are they going and who's supporting them? Mueller continued. That's what's scary. Cartel fees for migrants trying to cross the border can range anywhere from $4,000 to $20,000. A Georgia Mason University professor told Fox News Times. One man took out a $20,000 loan to smuggle his two sons into the U.S. They were later found dead in the back of a tractor trailer that was abandoned in San Antonio, along with 51 others. Many migrants remain in debt to the cartel after crossing to the U.S., Line said. As a result, they're forced to work off their debts. Not everyone is able to pay for it, and they become servants to the cartel. Mueller said the cartel taken advantage of the Biden border policies for the last 2 years. The border is 100% not secure. It's wide open. It's 100% dangerous what's happening right now, Mueller said. I'm sure it might be too late, as this has been like this for the last 2.5 years. This is the Border Patrol letting us know that it has become so bad that now the cartels are running our border on both sides. The California sheriff's investigating the slaughter of an entire family that included a teen mom and baby said the killings are undoubtedly cartel related as officials continued to piece together details of the brutal massacre. Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreau joined America's Newsroom today with an update on the search for suspects and the warning of how failed policies are fueling a surge in violence. This is an international slaughter and massacre. No one was supposed to be left alive, Boudreau told Bill Hammer and Dana Perillo this morning. They went through this house methodically, very slowly. They made sure that they were going to kill everyone in that house. When you slaughter, when you shoot a 16-year-old mother in the head and a 10-month-old child in the head, that is a very clear message to everyone that this was cartel-style shooting and execution. And these types of things, with our unsecure open border, with our soft on crime approach here in California, this is a result of some of that failed policy, the sheriff said. Members of the entire family were gunned down and killed in Gosselin, California, early Monday, with the victims ranging in age from, this is all the people that were in the house that went through and killed, 10 months to 72 years. They were Rosa Perez, 72, Geraldo Perez Jr., 52, Jennifer Anala, 50, Marcos Perez, 19, Elisa Perez, 16, and Nicholas Perez, 10 months old. A week prior to the shooting, a search warrant was conducted at the home for drugs, and according to Boudreau, deputies found drugs, ammunition, and weapons. What we're experiencing is high-level gang-structured violence who are married to the cartel. The cartel brings the drugs into our area and the gangs distribute them. They're partners. And this slaughter of a family, an entire family, this wasn't just the killing of a rival gang member or a fellow gang member. This was a slaughter, massacre of an entire family. They were targeted. And this was a message being sent, he continued. Officers believe there were 2 suspects tied to the homicide. And the Tulare County Sheriff's Office is offering a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest in the case. Well, guess what? The cartel will offer a $10 million reward if you keep your mouth shut. Although it has been widely known gangs and cartel are active in the Central California area, Boudreau said the brutal nature of this incident has rocked the community to its core. The small migrant farm community, they're in a state of shock and a state of fear, the sheriff said. However, they all knew this existed. Anyone with information on this incident is asked to contact the Tulare County Sheriff's Office at 559-733-6218. Tipsters can remain anonymous by calling or texting 559-725-4194 or through email at tcso@tipnow.com. So to sum that up for you, in case you missed it, one of the members of that house worked with the cartel. And for whatever reason, he did something he shouldn't have done. So the cartel went to the home and killed everybody there. But we don't have a problem on the border, do we? California, Democrats. This next story I reported on a while back, and now it's all coming together. Anti-gun / gun control advocate actor Alec Baldwin will be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the death of his cinematographer Helena Hutchinson on a movie set of Rust in 2021. How ironic. The film's armorer, Hannah Reed, will face the same charges over Hutchinson's death. New Mexico District Attorney Mary Cormac Atwalis announced in a written statement today. The charges will be filed before the end of this month, according to the statement. Baldwin was practicing drawing an old-fashioned revolver on the set October 21st, 2021, when it fired, killing the 42-year-old cinema photographer and wounding the director, Joel Schultz. No charges are going to be filed specifically over the shooting of Schultz, according to the statement. Reed, who was in charge of the film's weapons, has said she thought all the rounds being fired were blanks. She sued the prop supplier that sold them, alleging they mixed live and dummy ammo rounds, as reported by the New York Post. Assistant Director David Halls, who handed Baldwin the gun, signed a plea agreement to the charge with negligent use of a deadly weapon. The terms of the plea included a suspended sentence and 6 months on probation, according to the statement. If any one of these 3 people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Reed, or David Halls, had done their job, this young lady would be alive today. It's that simple, said Andrea Reeve, the special prosecutor appointed to the case. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the set of the movie Rust. In New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety and public safety seriously. There are differences between the 2 involuntary manslaughter charges that Baldwin and Reed will each face, according to the statement. One of the charges requires proof of underlying negligence. The other, involuntary manslaughter in the commission of a lawful act, requires proof that there was more than simple negligence, according to the statement. Both involuntary manslaughter charges are punishable by up to 18 months in jail and a fine of up to $5,000. A firearm enhancement on the latter charge adds a mandatory 5 years in jail. Now, considering that Alec Baldwin's net worth is reported at $70 million, this man is not going to serve a day in jail other than when they have to officially book him and take his mugshot, and then he's out. And $5,000 to somebody that makes $70 million, that's like a penny to you and me. And finally tonight, and this really, really pisses me off, as it does all U.S. military veterans across our nation. As a retired U.S. military non-commissioned officer, let me tell you that if someone is removed against their will from the military, then the removal is reversed. That military person is entitled to 100% back pay. That's how the law works. Same goes if they're a state employee, if they're a federal employee of any type, state, county, city personnel, doesn't matter. If you're terminated, it turns out to be a wrongful termination, and it's reversed, and you're allowed to take your job back. Guess what comes with that? Your money. Well, the Pentagon is not pursuing back pay for troops that were discharged for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine. The Pentagon said during a press conference Tuesday. The comment came 4 days after indicating back pay was a possibility following the end of the military-wide vaccine mandate. What I would tell you is right now, we're not currently pursuing back pay to service members who were dismissed for refusing to take the COVID vaccination. Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder said at the briefing. He was responding to a reporter's question on whether the Defense Department is actively exploring back pay or reinstatement for troops discharged over the vaccine mandate. The issue of reinstatement and back pay for troops who didn't comply with the mandate was an open question after Congress required it to be lifted following months of political pressure. Last week, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin opened the door to reinstatement, and the Pentagon told Politico that back pay was still being considered. Regarding back pay, the department is still exploring this and will provide its views on legislation of the nature at the appropriate time and through the appropriate process. Pentagon spokesman Major Charlie Dietz told Politico. Austin's memo officially ended the vaccine mandate, allowed for troops to require a correction of their discharge records because they were either dishonorably discharged or they didn't get an honorable discharge. It was for something other than. Paving way for them to now be reenlisted. It also provided for the reversal of letters of reprimand that were given to those that weren't kicked out, and other punishments given to troops who applied for exemptions that were denied. The memo said that no more troops are to be discharged solely on the basis of COVID-19 vaccine refusal. We will allow them to have it if they want it, and if they don't want it, we will not enforce it, and they will not be kicked out. If they assault on a combination of religious, administrative, or medical grounds, all ongoing reviews of exemptions requested were to end. However, it still allows for commanders to take individual soldiers' immunization status into account when making deployment decisions, assignments, or other operational decisions, which means that the Pentagon is allowing commanders to punish them anyway. So they can still get punished, even though Congress has ruled that you can't do this. And those that now can go back into the service if they would like to, they can get their dishonorable discharge turned into an honorable, get reinstated, will not get back pay. Let's say that a police officer shoots and kills someone in the line of duty, and the DA pursues it for criminal charges because the far left and BLM and all them are rising up saying another cop kills an innocent young man, or whatever the case may be. And then that officer is fired. And then 6 months or 6 years later, when the courts are done with this, and it's determined that that police officer acted properly and the shooting was justifiable, that officer gets the opportunity to go back to work. And guess what has to happen? Every penny that they lost during that time that they weren't paid because they lost their job has to be paid back to them. Works that way at the city level, at the county level, state level, and federal level. Any employee that is terminated for any reason, and then later it's reversed, is entitled to back pay. That's how the system works. But not today's U.S. military. Today's U.S. military says, fuck you. That's Austin Lloyd, that no good son of a bitch that I once supported right here on this show. I thought he was a perfect person for that position. Turns out I was wrong. I later came back and admitted that, and I'm still admitting it to this day, that son of a bitch needs to be removed from the U.S. military. There is no place for anyone in command of anything, whether it's a police chief out in California or somebody up at the Pentagon, to cave to the far left. No reason whatsoever. This silliness needs to stop. It is absolutely a shame what we're witnessing happen day in and day out right here in America. I, like many of you and many people all across this nation, served this nation with honor and respect, with morals and values, and did everything we were supposed to do. In law enforcement, in the military, in my case, in both. I wasn't drafted. I didn't go in for the college. I went in like Mitty did because it's in my blood. It's in my DNA. My father did. My uncles did. My cousins did. It was a family thing. Ducotes joined the military. That's how it works. And we fought for our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our flag. We fought for our country. We fought for freedoms. We fought for a once grateful nation that is now took a knee to the far left. I don't recognize the United States of America anymore. What's happening today, whether it's at the FBI or the Department of Justice or at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue or the Pentagon, is not the America that I served for. And I'm not alone in this. I get letters and I get emails from all over the country from other veterans of law enforcement and the military saying, Doug, thank you for standing up and saying what we want to say, but we can't because of, be it the position they're in, whether it's political or their business will fire them, whatever the case may be. I know that I'm not alone in saying this. And pretty much everybody that I served with in law enforcement and in the military, I'm in contact with today. Whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or right here on YouTube, many of them watch this show or subscribe to this show. And they all agree 100%. In fact, some of them say I don't go far enough to call out wrong. But damn it, I'm trying. And I will continue to try to get the message out there that if we don't vote these son of a bitches out of office, Democrats, liberals, and lame duck Republicans, swamp creatures, there's no saving us. There's no saving America. It will become just another shithole country. And that's a crying ass shame. You had many places to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Whatever you're going to do this weekend, hope you're safe. Hope you have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful night tonight. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. Please, dear Lord, save us. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Please subscribe. Go to DouglasDucote.com if you haven't already done so. Check out the website. And in the description below of this show, once it goes up as a regular video, and all my videos and shows, you'll be able to see where you can follow me on all the different social media platforms that I'm a part of. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. God bless you. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m.